Sometimes I don't think is it really about organizing, or sometimes you're not sure of the situation on the road. I mean, let's just say you leave your house, your flight's for 5 o'clock, you leave your house, say 2 p.m., 3 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
That's early enough. That's enough time, right?
Yeah.
But then you get on the road and there's one funny accident, or there are these cab and buses who are picking up passengers,
Yeah.
so they just get to one point and they keep you there for the next 1-2 hours.
Yeah, that can happen. That can definitely happen. And that's the reason why you leave several hours earlier, because you cannot predict what's going to be on the road. But it's not all the time. You know, some people say, well, it's just around the corner, I can get there in 30 minutes. And they do not budget for what the, you know, eventualities on the road.
Accident.
If you leave 3 hours before you're setting, that's structured timing. I'm leaving room for things that might happen that I've not got any control of, you know. And that makes sense. 3 hours is fine. That is, you know, that's the extraordinary, when you've left 3 hours and you get there late. But because you're giving yourself time, you've structured it. That you've got a goal. I want to get to the airport on time. I want to check in on time. I want to rest and settle down before I get onto the flight. But just imagine you're panting. There's every possibility that you could lose that flight. Then you get yourself in a fluster. You get all, you know, just imagine. It's not even good for your health at the end of the day. You know, and people still do that in spite of, they try to get too much done in a short period of time. And they say, well, you know, let me stay on for this meeting. Let me finish this assignment. Let me do this thing. I've still got a few more minutes. Before you say Jack Robinson, time has gone. So time waits for nobody, you know. So it's really about how well do you structure your time. And I give you some tips about managing your time. When it comes to managing your time, for me, I would simply say, guess what? You really do need to have what I call a diary or a journal. Open up a diary, open up a journal, write things down. Now, some people say, if I do a to-do list, I never get half of what I want done. Don't make your to-do list from here to kingdom come. Just do the few that you think you can get. Instead of having 10 items on your to-do list, have 3. You know, even 2 if you think that 2 is going to take the whole day. So you do need to have a to-do list at the end of the day. I think in having a to-do list, go by your goals. What are your goals for that day, for the week, for the month, whatever it is? Put the goals down and work your schedule around your goals. It could be short term, it could be medium term, it could be long term, either way. You've got to prioritize. If you don't prioritize, and I mean, if you don't set the most important tasks first in the day, then you're going to lose valuable time, without a doubt. You're going to lose it. But so I would say, no matter what you have to do in the day, do the most important ones first. And then the less trivial ones last. It goes without saying. I mean, we hear this all the time. One thing that we must also remember not to do is procrastinate. And we tend to do that time and time again. We procrastinate. We say, you know what, I'll do that at 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock comes, you don't do it. I'll do it next week. And it never comes. So procrastination could be a deterrent, actually, to organizing your time. Again, I have to say, you've got to be more effective than efficient, all right? So efficient is you're doing the right thing. Effective is you're doing it right.
Okay. I heard the story of a young man whom his classmates and friends knew to be very time conscious. Okay. So after several years, they hadn't seen him, and then they heard he was in town. So he sent a message that he's coming at 2. By 3 o'clock, they hadn't seen him. So one of them said, if it's the same guy I know, there's a reason why he's not here at 2.
Wrong. Yeah.
Because he knew him for, if he says 2,
he was time
he will be there 5 minutes before 2. Time management. How well can we manage time, especially in a place like Lagos? Let's use Lagos for instance.
I mean, that's what I said. It's really about prioritizing. You know, sometimes we want to get so much done in such a little time. But you've got to set your priorities, for sure. And I said before, you've got to know how to arrange your time, schedule your time, organize your time, and budget your time. Because there is real time and there's clock time. They're 2 different things, you know. And it's like, if you want to do something, budget the time. I'm going to use like 1 hour or 2 hours to do this thing. When I've done that, then I can focus on something else. So it's really about trying to budget your time such that you use less time to achieve more things. You know, it's like studying for an exam, for instance. If you study for 10 hours, it doesn't mean you're going to pass.
No.
Somebody else can use 2 hours to do effective studying and do well, grasp it very well, and pass the exam. So it's really about money. So why would you spend 10 hours to read one chapter? Definitely you're going to drift away. You're not going to stay focused at that at all.
The reason is I'm not as intelligent as the next man.
You know what? If you push yourself, you know, you have to begin to believe in yourself. Some people just undermine themselves, sabotage their own image. You can do anything like anyone else. Nobody has two heads. So if you push yourself a little bit, you become more effective rather than just being efficient. You know, that's the way I look at it. And I keep saying you've got to stay focused. And even if there will always be distractions, all right? But even with the distractions, you've got to be disciplined enough to phase out those distractions. I want to do this, you know. And it's back to doing exams or going somewhere. There will always be functions and parties. You've got to make up your mind and say, I am not going because I've got to achieve this. And that's really about scheduling and budgeting your time, you know. And at the end of the day, you've got to set yourself deadlines as well. You know what? I want to finish writing this book. I must finish writing this book by this time, you know, and that's it. Or if, for example, you're so pressured for time, you're a CEO, you've got to be at this function, you've got to be at that function. If you don't manage your time well, you're going to burn out.
Yeah.
You're going to burn out. So you say, well, I'll be here for a couple of hours, and then I go back and do what is more important. You've achieved more than enough. You know, you've done more than what you expect to do. But I think that it's more than important at the end of the day to make out time to rest.
Make out time to rest.
Now, that's one. In spite of it all,
I would stress that for men, because men just don't ever know when to stop.
You see, there you go.
I've got to go and rest.
Yes. So time to that's part of time management.
Okay.
It's making out time to rest.
Make out time to rest. Good place to hang it. So men, as Alera said, make out time to rest. But above all, manage your time effectively. Thank you, Janet.
You're welcome.
Thank you for coming